Hello, hello, hello. This is Karol V. Brown, and I'm here to read you one more chapter. This chapter is chapter 33 out of 34 chapters. So we are coming to the end of this book, The Harriet Tubman Way, an inspirational guide to self-love, empowerment, and legendary leadership for girls. This chapter is Show Love in Actions Everywhere You Go. Love, I find, is like singing. Everybody can do enough to satisfy themselves, though it may not impress the neighbors as being very much. Zora Neale Hurston. Just passing through Troy, New York. Now, this is a story most people have never heard from Harriet. Most folks think I only had the battle for freedom in the South during the war. Well, let me tell you about the one day I had my own little war up here in the North. I was on my way to Auburn, from Auburn to Boston to attend an anti-slave meeting. I took the train, and I thought I would stop off on the way to visit my cousin in Troy, New York. Before I could get out of the train station, I heard that the U.S. commissioners was trying to send a man back into slavery. I wasn't about to stand still and let that happen. The man's name was Charles Neale. If you saw him, you would have seen that he was just as white as his half brother who tried to take him back to be his slave. I found out where they had him, and I made my way there. I put on a red bonnet, borrowed a cane, bent over, and this old granny walked slowly past a dozen white men into the coat room. I got inside where they was holding Allie, and I got over to the window. I told all the colored folks to get all their friends in the center of town to keep watch on me in the window, and when I gave the clue, they would yell fire. When the officer started out the door with Nally, I turned, looked down at the crowd from the window, and gave the signal. And the fire bells started ringing. The crowd got bigger and excited. Just as they were coming down the stairs with Nally, I grabbed hold to him around his neck, and I was not going to let go. Nally was handcuffed, and the officers tried to get me off him. They clubbed me. They clubbed him. They pulled one way on both of us, while the crowd pulled the other way. It went on for what seemed like an hour. I lost my shoes, got my clothes torn into rags. Poor Nally was beat all about unconscious, and his wrist was all bloody. But I held on. I said, drag us out, drag him to the river and drown him, but don't let them have him. They tugged and pulled and knocked us to the ground. Well, we was down out of sight. I took off my bonnet and tied it on Nally's head. From then on, the commissioner men couldn't see his white head standing out in the crowd of all these black heads. Finally, my folks got control and dragged us to the ferry, and they put him on and get him out of town. I knew that wasn't the end of it. The commissioners had men waiting for Nally on the other side of the river, and they took him off the boat and to the jail. Do you think I was finished? Oh, no. Hundreds of us got on the next ferry. I got the folks together on the other side and found where they took Nally. We had to break down a door. Some men were shot, and men was hacked with an axe. I got some women in charge to charge the door with me, and we went in and pulled Nally out. There was a wagon waiting to rush him off out of town safely. I guess you know that I didn't get to visit my cousin. I had to get out of that town. when it comes to talking about fighting for freedom, I surely know what that's all about. I know you have to keep fighting to hold on to your freedom and the freedom of other people too. Show love in actions everywhere you go. Advocate for others means to take actions and stand for what you believe. Harriet Tubman saved this man from being returned to slavery. Before she took actions, there was only talk about the situation. She took the leadership role to bring the necessary actions needed. Advocate for others is hard to do. Sometimes it requires you to put yourself at risk. If you step out and speak out for someone else, you are now taking on the same problem or looked at the same as they are. If you feel strongly about something that seems wrong, take some actions. Action speaks louder than words. You could be the one that makes a difference. You could be the one that makes a difference. Let your love guide you to step up for someone else. Harriet Tubman showed that love in actions really means being a compassionate leader. Activities, discussion questions. Alice Garza, Patrice Cullors, and Opa Tomiti created Black-centered politics will be movement building projects called Black Lives Matters. It was in response to the acquittal of Trayvon Martin's murder, George Zimmerman's murder. Visit the Black Lives Matters website. How are these three women representing the statement, I am Harriet Tubman? Are Alicia, Patrice, and Opal servant leaders? Take what they have done and check it out through Mr. Robert Greenlee's best test for servant leadership. 1. Do those served grow in persons? 2. Do they, while being served, become healthier, wiser, freer, more independent, or free, more likely themselves to become servants? 3. What is the difference? What is the effect on the least privileged in society? And 4, will they benefit, or at least will they not be further deprived? Journaling. What organization have you heard about that fits the definition of advocacy to support, campaign, sponsor, and believe in someone or something? 2, is there anything you would be willing to advocate for? What unique talents do you have that you can use in love to advocate for a person or a cause? Utilize your creative talents to make a unique presentation about the cause or organization that you are passionate about. Zora Neale Hurston was an American writer, and you should look her up to look for some of her stories. I'll leave it with that. Thank you.